Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Alastair, Patton, Garcia.
I'm Justin Fraction.
I'm Angela Rockstar.
And I'm Ian Carlos Crawford, and today we are here to talk Angel Season 3, Episode 5, Fredless. Which, Justin, was it your last recording that in my brain this was a Season 4 episode? One of you I talked with that, where I was like, is that the episode with the bug? I don't know that episode. And then I was like, wait, I do know this episode.
Yeah.
I get my Angel seasons mushed. It was you, Alastair, wasn't it? Yeah. I get my Angel seasons a little mushed together. As I know you do, Angela, because you were like Spikes this season, right?
Right. You are just counting down.
What did we think of this episode? Just like in general, rewatching it. Angela, what'd you think?
I think this is a good introduction to Fred's family.
Yeah.
I think it's a decent. I mean, I like the episode. I do. I really do. I do like it.
You're trying to be nice.
I'm trying to be nice. It's not my favorite episode.
That's totally fair. That's fair. Justin, what do you think?
I wasn't as enraged with this episode as I was the last one. I saw a couple back. It was a cute little episode, a nice character piece.
Yeah. Alastair?
So this episode, Fred is one of my favorite Buffyverse characters, so I was really excited to get her first character episode where they really delve into her. I loved this episode. I think a lot of it is because I love Fred. I think Amy Ager just does such an amazing job portraying her emotion throughout this entire thing and her entire character growth that we get to see throughout Angel itself. And I like that we kind of see her work through that in this episode.
Yeah, I again, once I just said to whoever that oh right, the one with the bug, I still didn't remember. When we do the wrap up after the mom runs the bug over with the bus, I was like, wow, I really have no notes. Oh, it's not over. Okay. I checked the timestamp.
It's a weird pause in between and then you go back to it. Yeah.
Yes. It weirdly has an ending, but then it's almost like it has a 2-part, but they're put together in one episode. It is, I noticed myself not taking a lot of notes for this because there is a lot of sitting and talking, which is fine. I always say I like moments when the characters get to sit and breathe and just be friends. And the parents were charming. I liked that it was what's going on with the parents? And it was just that they were very supportive and we're going to call the police because who the fuck are these people and the bug demon? I liked that. But I think with the parents, it made it harder to have the just character moments because it's aside from Fred was getting her character moments, but I felt I don't know, the quieter moments didn't fully land always for me, but it is a cute episode and it is kind of our introduction to Fred, right? It is, even though we met her last season, we haven't really gotten a lot from her. And this is the first time we get a lot from her.
Well, it also feels talking about the quieter moments for Lorne, this felt like a mini, character arc for him too, especially with us coming off of the last episode. Well, not the episode before last, with that stuff that happened to the bar and him really just being what am I to y'all?
Right.
What are we?
I did like Lorne because at first I was I don't love the way he's acting. And then it was well, actually I do understand. Yeah, Justin, your face. Yeah. Right. It's you kind of get it. They fucking got his bar totally
Trashed
demolished.
His bar.
Yeah.
And they're not offering to help
the
or
second
pay
time.
for it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Justin, I feel that's us when we get very grumpy older gays on Twitter. That's
yeah, you're not even going to stay to help him clean up after the party? Come on, what's going on here? The place is still trashed.
His insurance must be skyrocketing at this point.
I forgot that this episode we open on Angel has come back from seeing Buffy. I keep going back and forth whether I love or hate that we just don't really talk about it.
And Cordy even says so we'll never know, and no.
Cordia was I felt they let her be how all of us feel, where she's I like that she's doing therapy speak at first, where she's you should share your emotions, blah, blah. And also the curiosity is killing me because same girl. But right before that, I have to mention, I fucking love Wesley and Cordelia making fun of Buffy and
Oh my
Angel.
gosh.
That
yeah.
was
Amazing,
hilarious.
amazing moment.
So funny.
I always forget which moment this is like in the Angel
Yes.
episodes. So it's a nice surprise starting out with them making fun of them.
And they're not wrong, right? Like,
I mean, Angel even said, "Hey, that's exactly how it went."
Yeah.
Which I think that there might be a comic that explores that time. I forget.
Yeah.
there is a comic that they talk, like, it's like the Scoobies in the Magic Box talking about what they think might have happened.
Hmm.
And then like kind of like this, it's like they're talking, and then Buffy walks in. But yeah, I love when Wesley says like, "I almost forgot to brood," and like,
It was really funny.
and like the thing I like about it is, I mean, they're being shitty, right? But they're not that far off, and also they're like doing it in like a funny friend way. They're not like actually like being malicious. They're just kind of like making fun of it because there's plenty to make fun of. It kind of reminded me of so because for the Patreon we go over Buffy episodes as they turn 25. When I went back to the Zeppo, usually I don't like that episode, and I appreciated it for what it is. And the like scene where Xander walks in and it's like Buffy and Angel are basically doing this, but like actually doing this, and he's like, "Ooh, bad time, I'll leave." And I liked it for like the show almost making fun of itself.
Yeah. Which is what I like about these Buffyverse shows is that they make fun of themselves a lot, poke fun at it.
Yeah.
Very tongue in cheek. Yeah.
One of the recordings this week, I talked about how like a lot of shows do try to capture that like meta-ness with like demons being like, sometimes they're just like, silly and like goofy. And like, I feel like a lot of other shows try to replicate that, but don't quite get there.
Yeah, like as you go on in Angel, you get to see more of the demons, and really they're just living.
Yeah.
Some of them, like, I mean, there's levels,
Right.
but yeah, yes, there's levels in the Hellverse or whatever. The
And I
Hell's-
like that, right? Like, I like that it's like, yeah, some of them are like chill and not eating people. They're just like existing. They're fine. They want to get a drink at Lorne's place. Like, so what is it? Angel says something like he feels like getting ice cream. Fred goes with him. Then they're in the sewer, and when he tells her to, because again, I didn't fully remember this episode. When he tells her to go, I was like, is she gonna get captured? Like, why should she not be in the sewer by herself? But
we were watching this episode, and my boyfriend turned and looked, and he was like, "Is she eating ice cream in the sewer? That's very unsanitary."
Well, she's also jealous of the monsters that get to live in the sewer. She's like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. But I mean, yeah, I could see that because I felt the same way with her, like, leaving by herself. But then I was also like, she survived Pylea for 5 years. She can probably hide. And,
also that, yeah. I didn't think about the ice cream, but now that you've said that, Angela, I'm like, yeah, that is really gross. Like, don't eat anything while walking through the sewer, especially something that like you're just holding in your hand. I'm like,
oh yeah,
stuff is dripping down.
Yeah.
Justin, I feel like you would have been like, you're not coming down here with that.
No, I don't do
Finish
that.
ice cream before we go down there.
Either you're waiting here or you're finishing, because
They were in the sewers because it was during the day, right?
No.
They followed the
Yeah,
demons.
they say like a
Were
demon.
demon beasts,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that it like popped out of the freezer at Baskin Robbins. We get the credits, post credits. Gunn and Cordy and Wes they're rearranging their weapons, and Angela, I feel like you're probably like, I was like, is this like a plot thing? I couldn't remember. Like, is that like a
Why they were organizing the arsenal? Probably just for the dialogue back and
something to
forth
do.
of who's in charge, and the bickering between Cordy and I don't think that really goes anywhere, but then it does lead to the parents having that funny line where they're like, "Sorry to interrupt your arsenal," or whatever.
Yeah, true.
It's like really funny. That one.
Cordy bumps her toe on that like thing Fred made. Justin, yes.
That was because Gunn said, will you just hurry up and get a vision already? And then she hurt herself right on time. Love
And they
her.
do the music as if it's like... I do like that we leave it so halfway through the episode you are worried that like there's something sinister, but it's just like They're just like concerned, like corny parents that are nice and want their daughter back. I did have a question at the end of the episode. So it was that they weren't lying about the letter, I guess, right? They did get the like letter without a return address from her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they were just confused about the whole thing. Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not sure how well they would actually be at real investigative work.
Yes, that's like not just a monster. Like I don't
Yeah.
think they would be good at
Like-
that.
Yeah, like, find my daughter.
Like,
But it was
is
funny when they came in because they sat down and Wesley was like, okay, let's go through this. And then was she part of a cult or was she part of this? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And when Angel comes in with the fucking head, and Cordelia's like, these are Fred's very normal parents to be like, shut the fuck up about the demon you killed.
I love how clean he was after chopping that thing's head off. Well, it's dripping blood everywhere. He's fine.
Like,
It's
that still look
experience.
hot, duh.
And the whole paper mache thing, honestly, I loved the thing they concocted for Angel, and then Lorne was like, oh, yeah, they make monster movies, which in
Which
LA
makes
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
It does make sense. Like, all right.
Your prop is dripping.
It was so cartoony when he's like, oops, and then he just like throws it and you hear like a crash. Like, it felt like a cartoon.
Paper mache and lead. That's what he said.
Right?
And lead.
They bring her up to Fred's room and she has run away. Did y'all remember why? Like, I couldn't remember why.
Oh, I remembered why she ran away before the ending. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't really remember either. I was like, I didn't think that they were
Yeah.
nefarious, but I was like, you know, it's something. Why is she being so? In my mind, I was like, does she have a sister? I couldn't remember if there was like some sort of
Yeah.
other plot point. But then as it went on, I was like, oh yeah. I know.
Angela, I think that's what I was thinking, that there was like another plot point to like that we would get to. But Justin, did you know watching it? Like, you remembered?
I didn't remember this episode at all until like the last minute. And I'm like, oh, I did see this a
Yes.
bajillion years ago. But yeah, so I was following right along.
You're like me, where you haven't rewatched Angel that much, right?
No, I've rewatched Buffy, but I never could bring myself to, like, I have like there's like a whole season of Angel I just did not see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the season of Angel you haven't seen yet?
I
Justin?
think the one after this one.
Okay. Oh, well. Oh, because I just got back from a deployment, and in my office and in my Connex room, my container room, I just started writing on the walls. And then when people would come in and I had to like explain stuff, I'd go to the walls and start writing on it. So I get it, Fred. I get it now. I truly understand it. Writing on the walls, it's good. It's good.
Were they like erasable, like
They
whatever walls?
were like whiteboard walls.
Okay.
So it was perfect for that. Hers aren't. Maybe they should have done whiteboard paint on the walls.
Listen, this hotel's huge. I feel like she could write on the walls in like 10 rooms and it still
She
wouldn't
could. She
matter.
could.
That
Love it.
hotel is dope.
Yeah.
But
that-
her parents were like, "What is going on?" They're looking in in that room.
I mean, understandably, because that does look like someone who is maybe going through it, which she kind of still is, you know.
Yeah.
Alastair, I like the idea of like people walking in your room and there's just like rants written all over your wall.
All over it.
They see that, they like worry about her. They like, Cordelia even says like something like, oh, she doesn't even tie her shoes without, you know, my big fat hero Angel. And Angel says, you think I'm fat? And I love there's a quick cut of Gunn and he's like, ugh, like rolling his eyes. And I love that. And then, the parents then are worried that Fred is in the movies. They were talking about like porn, right?
That's what it
Yes, they
sounded
were. They
like.
were. And I
Okay.
found that-
That's totally what it sounded like.
But honestly, I feel like that's a reasonable suspicion just because she's disappeared for such a long time. She might, like stuff like that happens, honestly.
She's in LA in a hotel.
Yeah.
Where they're making movies.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like, Alastair, doesn't Zach always say that like any short film he's done, if he's rented like an Airbnb or something, they ask if he's making like a porn?
Yeah, they ask if you're making porn.
So we go to Caritas, and I kind of love that Fred went there. Like, that was like a space that she thought of to like run to. I understand why Lorne is like, I don't want any of you here, but I like that like this like cute, sweet little nerd is like, yes, the demon that looks like the devil who's painted green with red horns is like a safe spot for me. Like I think that I'm like charmed by that. And like again, I feel like Lorne, he's nicer to her than he is to the rest of them when they come later.
Lorne has had enough.
Yeah, right.
Enough.
He's nicer to her, but like the advice he gives her, I was always a little bit like, okay, run. You need to run farther. Was a little weird, and I was trying to like think about it in terms of like Lauren's character arc right now. Maybe he means just like get away from these angel investigation people. Like they're not good for you, and it's not going to end well. Maybe there's also some. What would we say? He had precognition.
Yeah, we like looked this up in depth
Yeah.
last time. I was wondering, like, because it's pretty short, right? Like once they get settled down, it's like pretty like short. And she's just kind of, I love her like yell singing row, row, row your boat at him so he can like give her advice. I feel like it was like an on purpose misdirect where like we didn't see the whole conversation. And that's why, because I do feel like, yeah, him just saying you haven't run far enough is like, Justin, I can see the look on your face. So
I think it makes sense in the context of what the real issue is.
okay, like
She
how to
can't, yeah. But like as someone who didn't remember this episode, but I know I saw it, I was like, okay, that's really ominous. And then once she explained what her issue was with her parents, I'm like, yeah, you can't really outrun that because it's still up here.
That's true. And I guess maybe that could be what he meant. Like you haven't run far enough because you can't ever outrun it.
Because she says her issue was I'm not strong enough to face my fear. And then he's like, no, you haven't run far enough. You can't.
You know what? You're right. Per usual. In the library, Cordelia is trying to like, I like that Cordelia's kind of the best at this part of the job, right? Of the like having to talk to people, having to do like, she would be the like liaison, I feel like, for like a company like this, if it were a company where like she does the like, when I used to do all the photography for Stonewall, the owner does not care about talking to celebrities. He doesn't care about like, he knows that he has to be there for a photo op because like whatever celebrity wants a photo with the owner. But the manager, Melissa, who is a close friend of mine, she does all that. Like she does all the talking. She does all the like, if she welcomes the person. When Chelsea Clinton was there, I remember like her and I were the ones that were closest to her because I was photographing, but even I had to leave the room. Like Secret Service made me leave, but Melissa was allowed to stay because she was like the person doing the like escorting her around, showing her everything. And I feel like Cordelia would be good at that for like any company to be like, yeah, I'll do the talking.
Oh, definitely.
And she's done that since the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of experience with that. And then also like coming up with like lies but also truths at the same time, saying this is where I first saw her. You know, it's like she didn't meet her there. She just saw her in a vision in the library.
I did like the very intentional wording because it's like, I thought about it and I was like, well, she only saw her in a vision. Oh, right. Well, she did say I saw her, not like I met her or whatever. So it's weird to like go back to the library set when it's like a set they never use again. I always think that's weird. It's like, oh, they had to rebuild that for this like 5-second scene, that like one set. I have a question. So Justin and Angela, you both work in like production and stuff. A thing that I noticed is the library had the same color scheme as the fucking hotel. Is it possible that it is like leftover set from the hotel that they pushed together?
Oh, definitely.
I think so. Yeah. Because I was like, why does it look like, I know it's the library, but it looks like the hotel. And then I was like, wait a minute. Probably they're like, push those walls together and that's the library.
That's pretty amazing that the library was just used in those two.
Right? Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I feel like they could have done, because like, I feel like a lot of times in Buffy, and you know, I say this as someone who loves Buffy, but like everything was such a set that it was like, sometimes they're in like a room with like a shelf behind them and that's the set. But Angel always like had the bigger production budget. I feel like sets and all. I do like that she calls Gunn and Wes Mr. and Mrs. Bickerson.
Yes.
it almost feels like when they're like, where would she go to for guidance? What would she do to be guided somewhere? What would she do to learn something? Oh, wait. Like, it feels like we're like, they're spoon feeding us. Oh, yeah, she would go to Lorne. Angel and the gang go to see Lorne. And this is when he's like pretty sassy with them. I don't love the dad being like, well, where I'm from, the guys don't wear eyeliner, at least not. He says like at least not that long or something. I was like,
There was a lot wrong with this scene.
Not gonna lie, sometimes when I watch older shows, I don't like the casual homophobia, but I'm like, oh, that was a thing. But it's just like, I don't know. I like seeing that it didn't change. You know how like that Taylor Swift song, she took out the gay over it. So whenever I hear it with the gay, I'm like, the gay is there. So
wait, what song does she take gay out of?
the one, I forget the name of the song is, but I'll tell your friends you're gay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was like, is it that song where she says like Shade didn't make anybody less gay? Because I always wondered what the fuck.
No, that's not it. That's
like one of her.
It was her first album.
Okay. I only know her like trashy pop songs. Those are the ones I like.
And also, I was just thinking, the guy that plays her dad, he was on Will and Grace for a bunch of episodes around that same period of time. He played Harlan, who worked with, I guess he was one of Grace's clients.
Then now I can hear him like.
Yeah, you can hear he was on a bunch of episodes.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that. But also the casual homophobia, I mean, does make sense for like a dad from
Texas.
I didn't want to say, but yeah,
that's what he said.
It's like this episode plays a lot with like expectation and then saying, okay, this isn't quite right. But this is the one thing that stuck. I'm like, okay, you're okay with vampires and everything else, but no, this is an issue.
No fags wearing makeup. Ugh.
You know?
Which I will say, especially with a lot of older folks, or even just folks that come from like very rural places and they're outside of the rural places, they'll either be very casually racist or very casually homophobic, and not sometimes realize that's just that they're just normally like that because that's how everybody is around them. And then over time, obviously, they unlearn those habits.
That's true. I guess Justin, to your point, like it's like, well, Angel presents as normal looking, so it's like, yeah, we could be okay with that, but like, the other one, and also he's a little fruity. Get that out of here! Like, what's the Tyra Banks quote? Get the fag off my TV. Like, it feels like that's what they were like. Do you know what I'm talking about? That clip went around from her show.
Yeah.
Tyra.
It's a different time, and none of it was good. It's just always weird, like was just pointing out, just watching these old shows, and just it was totally fine to say that. Well,
yeah. But I also like what you said about expectations, though, because I feel like that perfectly kind of encapsulates these parents. Because also, like, right, parents say shit that you're like. Like
don't say that.
And like even my mom, who was like super liberal and super gay friendly, even she would sometimes say shit where I'm like, Mom, just don't say that though. Like, and like, you know, my mom was really big on like, if someone was Hispanic, she loved if she could talk Spanish to them. Like Alastair, she would have fucking loved you. But so that would always be her like, oh, like, do you speak Spanish? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Or like try to speak Spanish. And I'd be like, well, Mom, there are a lot of people like me who like their Spanish isn't that good. And she would be like, that's you. Like, no, that like everyone else. And like, you know, she loved talking like your background, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, you can't really ask Mom. Like, So yeah, I mean, yeah. And I like Angel kind of has to take Lorne aside to almost be like, hey, can we chill? Like, let's like tone it down a little bit. I really like their relationship too. I almost feel like the way Cordelia makes sense with him because they are different but match well. I almost feel like Angel and Lorne's friendship is kind of like that, where like they are so different that they match well. Like, you know, Lorne's very like big and dramatic and like very verbose, and Angel is like a man of little words and like wears all black and is more like toned down. Justin, that is a gif of Cordelia playing on the screen behind you?
Oh yes, that is. Figured it was being festive here.
As I was talking, I was like, that lady looks familiar. Oh, that is Cordelia.
Yeah.
Alistair, what do you think about Lorna and Angel?
I really love their dynamic. I agree. They're like two sides of a coin, or like the yin and yang of each other. And I like that Lorne was like, I'm not just this. I think he said a cult vending machine that you can keep coming to for all your problems. Which is, I know last time we recorded, we talked about that being the case, where they just go to Lorne as like the multi-tool for like all of their issues to solve them. And he's like, I'm not that. Like, again, like the what are we kind of, well, let's establish the boundaries of our relationship.
Yeah, and like Justin, I just keep thinking of me and you on Twitter being like, oh God, like listening to everyone talk and just being annoyed and being like, ugh, and then DMing each other to be like, everyone's annoying.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all. I go to work tomorrow. What are they talking about?
Do they have jobs? Like, Angela, you love Lorne, right? I feel like
yes.
I feel like Lorne would be like, you would be hanging out with Lorne.
No, I would be up at the Demon Bar, kicking it, perhaps bartending or hostessing.
You'd be like, well, last night I flirted with 5 demons.
DMing that motherfucker. That's what I would be DMing that bitch. Lorne, you do your thing. I'm gonna handle the back of house and make sure the front of house is lit. Don't worry. Lights, the music's gonna be right. The guests will be happy.
You throw the Demon Bar Pride like event.
Yes.
And so then what is it? Then they find Fred, right?
Yeah.
After this, yeah.
Also, I wanted to point out, this is a really cool scene because, as we touched base on, Gunn just kind of walks in like nothing ever happened. Like, hey, what's up? And then Lauren's like, nah, I'd rather you just get out of here. And also during this scene, he's trying to protect Fred. Yes. So he's not, and so I'm like, will you just get to the point? Oh, wait, he's doing this on purpose. He doesn't want to say it in front of everybody.
Yeah. And I do like that. I was at first like, why is he making Gunn leave? And then it was like, well, I guess it makes sense that maybe he would like feel not great about it. I gotta say, when they find Fred in the train station, which again is also colored like the hotel, it has the same color scheme. Amy Acker was like, "Oh, you want some acting? I'm going to give you some acting," because like, right? I was like, "Oh, I feel bad for her." Like,
it broke your heart immediately. Like it was impactful, definitely.
I got a little like.
I liked her reciting Pi to like calm herself down.
Oh, that was so great.
And then the homeless guy being like, "You're crazy.
I'm out of here.
Getting out of here."
Yeah, Justin, what do you think of this?
I thought it was like, this is the episode I realized I actually liked Fred, because I didn't before this. She was kind of annoying to me. And now I'm like, oh, she needs to be protected at all costs.
Yeah.
I don't know how that turned out.
I know. I like that they like you said, Alastair, like she's reciting Pi. Like I feel like she is like neurodivergent in some way. Mm-hmm. If anything, I related to like, oh, she's nervous, so she's talking a lot. I do that. Like I was like, she at least has ADHD like me, like, or something else. But like I appreciated the like she doesn't shut up, and it's because she's nervous, right? Like that's like a nervous thing,
which is an actual like technique for like nerves and anxieties, like either reciting things from memory or maybe like pointing things out, counting them, or like doing stuff to keep your mind busy.
Yeah.
She would have loved TikTok. And then like it was crazy because like this whole like we saw the trauma like I feel like in a more vulnerable way than we've seen it before.
Yes.
With her breaking down, like if you're here, then that means that everything was real. Everything that they did to me, everything that happened to me, that's all real. And I was like, that. Yeah.
I've been through so much more in life since the first time that I saw this, and I was like, oh, oh my God, it hit a whole different way.
I was like, oh, baby girl, because like she's like crying and sobbing, but then like still fast talking and like clearly having a breakdown. And Amy Acker is just such a good actor, right? Like the way she transitions into like, she's talking really fast. Oh, she's like crying while she's talking fast and like freaking the fuck out. This is the thing, Buffy, and the Magicians. Alastair, I am never going to stop trying to convince you and Zach to watch The Magicians.
So good.
I've watched most of it at this
I
point.
thought you only watched season 1.
I watched until after they get back from their Pylea dimension. Or whatever
They go
that
there
was.
a couple times, though. The first time?
Yeah.
So,
One
like,
of those times.
So season 2, then. That's not
Maybe,
most of
yeah.
it. There's 5 seasons.
Yeah, maybe season 2.
But The Magicians does well, and Buffy and Angel do pretty well, too, of like, oh, we didn't forget that this girl was kept captive in this hell dimension where, like, humans are all slaves, and she escaped, but still had to, like, live in a fucking cave. Like, the show doesn't forget that she went through that, and I really do appreciate, like, we're not, because sometimes, right, like, no one wants to watch a whole show where, like, every episode she's depressed. Like, you don't want to watch that, but we're still, like, reminding the audience, look, she does have this trauma. There's a reason why she would want to run away. Like, it made sense when she started crying, right? You got, like, oh, I get why she doesn't want to face her parents because that was a fucking terrible thing she went through. Like...
And I think a lot of people deal with trauma by joking, and I think this show does a really good job of doing that too for the characters, where they're like, "This is just our norm now. We're just going to joke about it," and then like kind of get through it in that way as well.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's funny because not to be too grim, but like after my mom passed, like I always end up getting jokey about that shit. My dad did not like any anything jokey. He was like pissed. He would get like mad. Like one of his friends made a joke to him. I forget what. And I actually thought I like could not tell you what it was, but I remember like I laughed and then realized my dad was telling me it as like a, can you believe this asshole said that? And I was like, oh, he's telling it like that's bad. Oh, okay. Like I was like, let me put that back in. Like, so yeah, everyone reacts differently. I think of Alastair, Zach and I, like, soon after my mom passed, recorded something. And I forget, I said something really stupid. And I remember him saying, like, you're bereft. It's okay. I'll let it go. Because it was, like, something stupid. And I appreciate when people can, like, make those jokes to me and, like, kind of... Like, after Chris passed, there was, like, people that, like, knew that they could, like, make a little bit of, like, jokey and not take it too seriously. Like, that's what I always want as, like, comfort. But yeah,
which
everyone's
Cordelia
different.
does a lot throughout this entire show. She always brings the jokes for like the trauma.
That's why she's our queen. I forget, like, does the bug just show up? I like didn't put in my notes. I'm like, and then they're fighting the bug. Is it kind of just like it shows up?
Yes.
Well, no.
Oh, hippie.
It's been following Fred.
Yeah,
Like they do that whole
there's
bug
weird
vision thing.
angle,
Yeah.
like
right, because we do see it. We do get like glimpses of it. Yeah. I feel like this bug costume is like one of their biggest budget like outfit design costumes. It's got to be a person.
Yeah,
right?
it looked good.
I think it's part person, part CGI. If I had to guess, like with the legs, like
praying mantis, fly.
Definitely way better than the praying mantis we got in Buffy season 1.
Yeah.
Where they had to do everything in the dark so you didn't see anything.
She fights it in a shadow. Like, I do like that her parents are then like, this is how they find out monsters are real, is like, and I like when Wes is like running next to, I think it's like her dad or her mom, and he's like, well, Angel's a vampire, but he has a soul, and I'll explain more if we actually survive. Like,
yes. Keep it moving.
This is where I looked at the time, because I was like, wow, I have like not even a page of notes and the episode's almost over. And I was like, oh, it's not almost over. Okay. I like that the mom gets a win. Like earlier, I think she said, Cordelia says something like, oh, it makes sense. Like she's so smart. She would have a parent who does blah, blah, blah. And the mom's like, well, I'm a bus driver. And I like,
she said her shift and she assumed she was a doctor.
Oh, right. Yes.
Because Fred was, so smart. And she was like, oh, you're a doctor. And she's like, no, I'm a bus driver.
And I appreciate that, right? Like, it's like...
And then Cordy has that line that's like, I've never ridden one of those, but I hear they're nice.
She was trying. The mom picks up her win and smushes the thing. And I like the mom being all like, did I get it? Like all excited and cute mom.
But also the dad swoops in with that thing and just boom. I'm like, wow, okay. There's the expectation. No, he's actually down to fight for his daughter. He doesn't care.
Yeah. And I love that we're like fully, especially at this point in the episode, right? We're fully flipping what we thought about the parents or what the like show was kind of leading us to think about them. Because yeah, you're right, Justin. Even if they loved their daughter, it's still very like, maybe the dad is just like scared.
Yeah. He's
It's like a big fucking bug. Like, I don't know what you do with that.
Mom escapes, grabs a bus, doesn't even care, drives it right up there.
We have our like fake wrap up where they're like back and being bandaged. I do like that this is consistent. I think, right, Angela? I feel like since season 1, that has been Cordelia's like pretty good at like bandage it, to like show that that's like what she does after they're
she's
like
from Sunnydale. Like, she knows how to bandage a wound. Like,
I mean, you're right. If Sunnydale's like growing up in like a war zone, like you got to know how to fight and also how to like treat a wound so you don't die.
there's buildings coming down.
At least 3 of your like fucking students are getting murdered every day. Like, oh, my partner in science lab got murdered by a monster last night. So
part of the curriculum is like, first responder classes just after gym.
Really should be.
They should definitely have that.
So we get like the cute little like wrap up of the dad and Angel bonding. I like that when they're like talking about like, I think one is like Bob Hope maybe they're talking about. But I like that they bond over like, I like when we're reminded that Angel is an old man.
Old.
like he's like older than this dad by hundreds of years, but the dad is closest to his age. Which I want you all to know, not you, Alastair, because you're younger. I looked up, I happened to come across Joyce Summers' age, and she, when she died, was a year older than me. Like the character was only supposed to be, yep.
We're
she was
the
supposed
same
to be,
age. We're the same age, you and I.
Yep. And so like Joyce Summers, who like when we were young was like the older mom, we are now her age.
How dare they?
Right.
I do have a Buffy aged child.
You do. You know what? You do. You would probably be a lot more supportive if your child came out as a Slayer.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like they used to have age appropriate clothing that people would always wear. The mom clothing, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Giles obviously in his tweed. But she looked amazing in. I mean, she looked amazing too. But like, I think it definitely made us think of them as older.
Right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. In my brain, I was like, she can't be. Oh, well, I guess that makes sense. Like,
well, I mean, the Sex and the City cast is the same age as the Golden Girls.
I think about that.
That's insane.
Because the Golden Girls were like 50, right? Like I think 1 or 2 of them were like 50.
Like 50, mid 50s. Yeah.
So, Angela, we got 10 years before we got to move to like a retirement home together.
We got to go to Boca.
Fucking Christ. Listen, at least we're all useful here, right?
Yes. It's like canasta or something. It's not like something like old people in Florida say, I feel like.
I think it is. So Fred makes the decision that she's going to go home with them. I do think it's cute when she's saying like each one of the gangs, like their like spot. And then when she says Cordelia's the heart, I was like, oh, she is the heart. But that makes Fred feel like she does not have a place. So she decides she's going. In my notes, I put in all caps. So she has her talk with Angel, right? They go up to her room. In all caps, I put, how old is she supposed to be? Because she got sucked into Pylea when she was like a college student, right? Wasn't she like in a class?
A graduate student. She was a graduate student at the time. So she had to be, well, but also she is a genius, right? So she could have gone to college earlier.
She's got to be in her 20s, right?
But like
20.
If she was a grad student and she was in Pylea for 5 years, isn't that what they say?
that would put her at like maybe 28 if she went to college normally. But if she went to college with an advanced program, let's assume that she's a genius, right? Then maybe 25, 26.
Because I'm torn between, yes, this makes sense that like this adult woman might act a little like naive and childish because she was stunted and like in a like this awful dimension for 5 years. But then I'm also like, but she like sometimes she acts like she's 12.
And here is why I hesitated at the beginning of, how do I feel about this episode? This is what I didn't want to talk about it all the way at the beginning, but this is what bothered. Like, I can't wait for Fred to start
they mature her.
Like, I mean, she could, but I get it. You've been in a weird cave for 5 years. You're a little off.
Yeah.
For sure. But
and traumatized people do revert age.
Like, I feel like she would still. I mean, maybe you regress in a cave. I'm not sure. For 5 years,
regress.
I don't know. But
Alastair, what were you gonna say?
No. Exactly what Angela was saying. Regression, like age regression. Maybe she's also regressing, kind of acting in a way that she did when she did feel safe.
True.
Younger. Because especially in a whole new world with all this stuff, like she even says, I had to make cards, to figure out like what y'all are saying. It's a whole, not only is she back in her old world, it's also a whole new world for her. So it does probably feel very disjointed. So when she sees her family, it really anchors the fact that it's the same world that she's actually in.
Mm. You know what? That's a good take. I like that take.
Yeah.
I did when I first had him. I mean, he says in a room full of action figures, but when I first moved back to like in with my parents, I definitely was like, I am regressing. Jesus Christ. Like I could feel myself regressing and like my mom and I arguing as if I was like 16 again and arguing over like the dumbest shit. So yeah, I guess, I did say that a lot when I moved back. So yeah, I like that take. All right, we'll go with that. What do we think about their talk? I know it's like, they talk about the castle and blah, blah, blah. I kind of was like, I get it.
Well, I think it's also her moving past it. Yeah. It's overall like mentally past it, she's closing the chapter on this fairy tale that she's made for herself.
And I for one am glad because she moves into her power after this. So maybe that was needed, I didn't, previous to what I thought we ended the Angel Crush on the last time I recorded. So it like led me into this like, really? Are we still doing this? But by the end I was like, okay. Yeah. And that, that was my hesitation to like the whole episode, but it ended well because she needed that closure, I guess.
Yeah. Justin, what do you think?
I liked it. She healed herself and her whole outfit changes in the last frame. I'm like, oh, amazing. She's adult now. Gotten over her trauma. Look how things painted over. It was a simple way of describing a complex transformation that I'm sure took place within the character. And I understood for time they did what they did. So there you go.
They're being very fair.
That's
we get our goodbyes, which are cute. Also, did you all catch that? Like Fred's mom is talking to Cordelia about the Alien movies, and she's talking about how the dad likes all of them, but that last one he fell asleep. And Joss Whedon wrote at the time the last Alien movie because he wrote Alien Resurrection. So that's a little joke there because I was like, why are they knocking Prometheus so hard? And then I was like, oh, right, that was not out yet.
Prometheus.
We get our goodbyes, which are cute. I do love that Cordelia whispers to her, like, don't tell anyone, but I'm a little jealous. And that we kind of get the reasoning why later when she says, like, well, they're like parents. They're like normal parents. And Cordelia, one assumes from the little we know of her dad, at least, that he was not that great.
No.
So,
and then Wesley kind of trauma dumps a little bit on them.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I gotta say, I like that this. I think I said this to either Zach or Dana in season 1 because he references having a terrible father, being like, this is not paid off till the final season. And I didn't remember us addressing it at all ever again. And I like that there's like just enough hints of it where like you can feel bad for Wesley, but you don't fully know. And then in season 5, you meet his like, but like you meet his like terrible dad and see just how like awful and like mean he was, which tells you a lot about Wesley, right?
Yeah.
You kind of like get him a little better. So yeah, so then they're like having this talk. I do also like when Cordelia's like, well, I'm glad to be rid of crazy taco lady, and Angel's like, she'll come to visit, and Cordelia's like, you think so? Oh.
Yeah, it's so cute with that. We'll see.
Yeah, I like that. And then Cordelia's like, I'm gonna go home, have a bath, maybe a cry. And she runs into what, Alastair, when she leaves the office?
Oh, the bug, her big fluffy bug, because she wants to crawl under her big fluffy bug. I love that.
Oh, right. Is that what she's interrupted saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
I crawl under my big fluffy bug.
Then we get Fred, and she like, Justin, what is it? It's like I don't even know that I can explain. I know the crystals on the shirt.
The crystals in the bag told her that there were 2 monsters, and then the one was trying to find its babies, and
Science
things.
I just knew something. Yeah, right. The blood, the crystallizing blood, is like
it's like
something.
The casing of the eggs or something.
I think that's what it is.
Like,
Yeah,
the residual.
Because we still see it on the head when she's sitting there. She like pokes the crystals on the head. But yeah. So then she turns around because she wants to save her friends. And like, I do like when Angel's like, who's going to help me? And she's like, me, I am. And she uses her like trap that she made.
Her toaster.
This is like, I don't know if y'all noticed, that was like, oh, well, sometimes you feel the budget. So again, the bug demon's done pretty damn well. But like when they have the like outside shot and there's like a bunch of them and it's like, this is how we're seeing that. Like, it's like a weird slow motion shot of like them all just like duplicated in a row. And yet we never see more than just like the one on screen. Like, but there's a bunch outside. Did not love that the head explodes and a bunch of roaches crawl out. Love that.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Well, that tied back into what Fred's dad said. That's my daughter, you damn cockroach. And then, of course, turns out he knew something. Well, he didn't know it. But,
yeah, very gross. But it's also weird that the like bug just leaves.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, okay.
It just wanted its babies.
I mean, right. But usually like in Angel and Buffy, it's never like, well, now that demon's just going to go away.
It's a very maternal bug, and it just, it's a nurturer. What really
True.
Just wanted the babies in the head.
I mean, we don't see the bugs again, so
True. So, and I also do like Fred saying she had a stunning realization for her true path in life. Because like we've been saying all episode, like I do feel like this is the episode when they're like, okay, we can like move on with Fred. She can be not like a helpless. Yeah, will like, because like she's not a fighter, but she's very smart and resourceful. So like, she built that thing that splits the head open. Like, so I do appreciate. And I mean, I know we said this last time, Angela, like this is where we get rid of the crush. I feel like this is the episode where they get rid of the crush, and then she like, yeah.
I mean, I hope after this she makes like an exploding compact for Angel.
I like the idea of Angel having a compact, even though he can't see himself in the mirror, but he likes to blush or something.
He likes to blush to make himself look alive.
Yeah, less pale. And again, twisting expectations that the parents immediately are like, we're going to miss you, but okay. Like they're like pretty understanding about her being like, I'm going to stay here.
She should have probably at least gone back home for a couple days.
Right. Like maybe to visit.
Yeah. Like it's been 5 years. You can go back home, take a vacation and then come back.
Yeah. Like then you invite some more demons, but like give yourself a little break from seeing demons all the time. But I guess we're at the end here. I figured this would go pretty quickly. These like first episodes, usually there's not as much to say. What was your favorite outfit, Angela?
Oh, when Cordy was wearing that like see-through top that had the little cami underneath, but it was short. I think she was wearing a skirt with it. That was a really cute shirt. I was wondering if I could find one similar. I liked it. It was really cute.
Angela, I gotta say, the thing I love about doing one of the things I love about doing this, you and Summer Bishop both are always like, that was so in style back then, but I want it now. Like,
right, let's bring it back.
Justin, what was your favorite outfit?
I would have said the same one. I'll go with. I would have gone with the. I'm going to go with the thing that Fred wore at the very end when her hair is back and she's all transformed.
Adult, yeah.
Flowy blue thing. Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. Alastair?
Same as Justin with the jean jacket. Fred, all feeling like finally like Fred herself. So yeah.
And I'm gonna go with Angela because I thought that was.
Really
I feel like it's like they're kind of coming back, like the like stuff that's like a little bit dated, like, and it looks cute. Also, Charisma Carpenter looks good in everything, so
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and I did like the short skirt. I thought it would like look cute with the outfit. It's like a little bit of like mismatchy matching, but I like that. What was your favorite scene, Alastair?
The scene of Fred, Amy Acker breaking down when she sees her parents. That incredibly emotional scene was award worthy.
Yeah. Angela?
I think I'm going to go with Cordy and Wesley at the very beginning, making fun of Buffy and Angel. I liked it. Quality.
Justin?
I liked both those scenes. I'll be a little weird and say the whole running gag about the taco stand, that gun just had to just go there. Yeah. Okay. That cracked me up.
I gotta say mine is a tie between the scenes that Angela and Alastair picked, because I love that opening, but then Amy Acker's acting is so good in the breakdown scene. So yeah, both those would be my favorite. What grade do we give this episode, Justin?
B.
Angela?
B.
Alastair?
A+.
I knew you would give a higher grade. I also go with a B. I liked it. It's just, yeah. I feel like this season, I want to say in like an episode or two is when Darla comes back, and I feel like that's when it like
really finds it. So
yeah. Well, thank you to three of you for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you liked Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube. Please subscribe, give us a good rating, like us. Any and all support is much appreciated. And you can also support us on Patreon. We're going through X-Men the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series. Finished going through Buffy Season 3 for its 25th anniversary, and we'll be going through Buffy Season 4 for its 25th anniversary. And if you want to follow us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. If you want to follow me, I'm at ENXCarlos. Angela, where can everyone find you?
On Instagram at Angela MFN Rockstar, and you can go to my link tree, and that'll get you to all the other ones that I'm on.
Justin, where can everyone find you?
Justin in brief on platforms many.
True to his name, is brief. Alastair, where can everyone find you? Sorry, that was corny.
You can find me at Alastair J. Patton on all socials. And then I also do Hello Gentle Viewers on my husband's Patreon, AZB+.
Well, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.